straight razor blade them off. Yeah. Which I switched to nail clippers because every once in a while you would mess up and it would just hurt. So you basically just like razor blade yourself.
Welcome back to New York City, everybody. I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
And between the two of us, we've coached over 15,000 workouts here in Manhattan. And today we're going to be answering your questions. You ready, Coach?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. You don't really know these questions.
What's number one? I know, I'm excited. I'm trying not to look.
Are you gonna be ready? All right, so question number one is, how do I avoid calluses?
That's a good question. People will tell you different things. I will just tell you my personal way to avoid calluses. They do build up on my hands, and every, I'm gonna say 3 weeks, give or take. Depends also on how much fitness I'm doing, because I'm not doing like a ton of bars, like pull-ups and stuff. It's not as bad. But every 3 weeks or so, I go with a nail clipper and I cut them off. And it feels like you get fresh skin. It feels like a snake feels when they take their skin off. It's so nice. They come off in like really gross, like chunks of dead skin. And that's what I do. And I haven't ripped my hands in a workout in like 2 years. So,
wow,
that's my answer, straight up.
I mean, the question is, how do I avoid calluses? I don't even know like if that's a great question.
Right, because you don't.
You're right. So you're not going to avoid them. The real answer, which is what Cole was just saying, is proper care. You do want calluses, and it's a little frustrating when you start because it's a process to get them built up, but you're going to want calluses here kind of at the base of your fingers in particular. You'll get some up here and maybe down in the middle, but it's going to be your natural glove, and it's going to let you go a lot longer in workouts. But what Coach Cole was just saying is that you don't want them to grow forever, and that's what's important.
Yes.
Like what's too big of a callus for you? Or how do you know it's time if you forgot?
I just go by feel. If it feels like the size of a dime, I would say, then it's got to go. But honestly, I like to keep my hands pretty on the soft side. I think.
Yeah.
Todd definitely has bigger calluses than I do, for sure.
Well, I mean, you definitely want them. You definitely want to keep them flat, or as flat as possible.
Yeah. As soon as they get bubbly,
yeah. What happens?
you're gonna tear them off, and it's gonna be not a fun day.
So once they're no longer flat and they get this mound, you're either going to be on pull-up bars or you're going to be holding barbells, and the bar is going to catch it and it's going to start to bunch it up even more, and it's eventually just going to rip the whole thing off. And ripping the whole thing off, as much as I just cringed at listening to Cole describe cutting off dead skin with fingernail clippers.
No, it's not cutting off. It doesn't hurt because it's dead skin.
I know, but just even the visual.
It feels like a relief.
The visual of watching people just digging in there.
I'll post a video of it now.
Please do. I won't watch it. It'll make me cringe. But yeah, so you just want to keep them flat. So you want to get a hand file, maybe even a foot callus file. If you're, that's what I use. I use a foot one on my hands, and you can start in the shower. I think I started in the shower just because wet is a little easier at the beginning. So you get a little softer. Definitely slowly go. You're gonna slowly go up and down, and then kind of start to change directions with that file. And then as you start to get more comfortable with it, you can start going faster and then digging in harder. Eventually, you won't need to do it in the shower anymore. You'll just be so used to it. So the goal is not to get rid of calluses. The goal is to manage your calluses, and then just keep them from ripping off. Are you a big fan of gloves in workouts?
I don't dislike gloves. I think gloves remove you a little bit from the thing that you're holding on to, so they make it harder to hold on to. Using grips won't avoid calluses.
It's still causing friction.
Using grips will actually, grips make it easier to hold on to the bar, right? So in theory, because it's easier to hold on to the bar, there's more friction between you and the bar. So if you're really squeezing that grip very hard, there's actually more friction between your hand and the bar, and you're actually more likely to rip if you don't, if you're not very, very comfortable like letting go while the grip holds onto the bar. So that's why some people get frustrated because they're like, I ripped. I'm like, well, if you were squeezing the shit out of the bar, yeah, there's more friction in there, you're gonna rip. So
embrace and love your calluses. Just take care of them.
Yeah, I can't. The pumice stones, whatever you use, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Well,
I'll go in with I used to straight razor blade them off. Yeah, which I switched to nail clippers because every once in a while you would mess up and it would just hurt. So you basically just like razor blade yourself.
So you got two different ways, very different. Not very different, but you can see different reactions to them. Next question: free weights or machines?
What is your, personally, free weights, unsurprisingly.
But what were you going to ask? I actually think that question is also what I was going to ask.
Yeah, it really depends on what you want out of fitness. There's a couple questions you could ask. A, how much experience do you have? All right, if you've never done anything before and you signed up, walked into a gym, understandably, it's going to be easy to use, like a lat pull down machine. But I like free weights better, and my clients use free weights for the most part because it kills more birds with less stones.
Kills more birds with less stones? I think
I
so.
would think, yeah.
I think that flies.
Like that one.
Yeah. I think if you're learning and if you're going to the gym for the first time, machines might be a good route. Yeah. If you don't have a lot of disposable income outside of that gym membership, there's usually instructions on them. They're usually, pretty straightforward how to use. And what is going to happen is if it gets you into a routine where you now feel comfortable going and working out a couple days a week, then you're definitely on the right journey. And then you can, in the future, start to, when you're pushing and when you're pulling and you just don't have a lot of experience, you don't even feel what muscles are working. You kind of just feel body. You're like, my arm is pushing, but there's a lot more. So as you start to use the machines, you're going to start to get some, I think proprioception is the word, or you're just going to start to become more aware of what's moving and how it's moving, and then that'll actually be a nice time to transition into start learning some free weights. I also agree with Cole for numerous reasons with free weights, but just tying it into if you are a beginner, you can only do machines at places that have machines. Free weights are everywhere. You can buy a couple dumbbells and have them at home. So if you do want to learn something that doesn't make you have to go to that one facility to get fit, and you can do it in all these different places, then when you can, learning free weights is going to be more versatile and hopefully meaning that you're able to work out more than you would otherwise. And there are some certain machines that I still love.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain machines that are really good at isolating. So
Yeah.
That's hard to do with a free weight because you get resistance in directions. It's not just gravity. And you can get resistance in different directions with free weights. You just have to lie down or use an incline bench. Whether versus, if you have a machine, you can pull from or push lots of different directions. With that said, I am not giving you permission to walk into a Globo gym and use the Smith machine.
That was going to be my next question. What's the one machine
don't touch it,
that we don't
go
recommend?
Near it. Grab a dumbbell and do some squats.
What is the Smith
watch
machine?
Watch our YouTube videos and squat with us.
What is the
Smith machine is essentially a barbell, but it's only allowed to move straight up and down vertically, and it's in a rack. So it's it's stuck. And you unhook it and you squat straight up and down because it's stuck in the rack. You hook it back in. It's just a death trap. It basically is a guillotine for your body.
The reality is that your body naturally on every movement is not going to move in that exact line, and so it's going to be forcing you into positions that you wouldn't be doing if you were using some free weights. It looks safer, but I wouldn't recommend any. Yeah, I don't know that I'd recommend anyone ever using it. All right, well, I think we got through all the questions for today. What do you think, Cole?
I think we're good.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and like this video. You can subscribe to the channel. We're putting out new content every week. With all that being said, I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
And we'll see you next week. Subscribe.